Let's Science is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit sqpn.com/give.
3, 2, 1.
We live in a universe of scientific wonders.
Every day, scientists are inching towards breakthroughs which can change our lives.
We're playing our small part in sharing these wonders with you.
That's why today is a fine day for science.
So let's science.
Lino, the time has come. It's been 2 years in the waiting.
2 years?
2 years, yep.
How is it
the
been
last
2
time?
years?
Yep, last time we talked about this was January 2023. And let me set the context for this, all right? So in February, mid-February, according to the date here, I was scrolling through SQPN's Discord and I was just having a bit of a look at Let's Science. And now I struggle with, I'm so sorry, because it's not a person's name. It's like a, what do you call it?
Like a tag.
Like a tag.
Not a tag,
anyway,
like a username.
So I'll do my best. Shupalululama, I think it is, anyway. Anyway, if you hear this, you can correct it for us, right? Just get back to me on Discord. I'm there as well, so you can correct it for me. Ed, an article from Science Alert. Ready for the title? We finally know why ancient Roman concrete was so durable.
Ooh.
All I saw in that title was
Roman concrete.
yeah.
Oh,
and then,
yes.
And then Don Bettinelli, straight after, said, and he tagged me, I said, I think this means we need another episode on Roman concrete, right?
Concrete, yeah.
And I replied, we're all for episodes on Roman concrete, so let's do it. Today is Roman concrete.
Part 2. Oh,
and as Jimmy Akin says, this time it's personal.
I love it when Jimmy Akin say that.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
So I thought I might just start with the Science Alert article. Now, there's not a lot that's new. In fact, it's very minimal. It's referring back to some of the stuff from 2023. Having said that, though, I will try and get to some of the bits and pieces that are new and then just add a couple of interesting facts that we didn't cover in our last time we did this in January. So you ready to go, Lino?
Let's do this.
I know we're excited. So it says the ancient Romans were masters of building and engineering, perhaps the most famously represented by the aqueducts. And those still functional marvels rely on a unique construction material, pozzolanic concrete. And I'll get to what that is in a moment. A spectacularly durable concrete that gave Roman structures their incredible strength. So even today, one of their structures, the Pantheon, which I've been to, still intact and nearly 2,000 years old, holds the record for the world's largest dome of unreinforced concrete. So still going today, unreinforced concrete. Yep. And as we know, it's because of lime. We've talked about this lime before, right? So it says the properties of this concrete have generally been attributed to its ingredients. Pozzolana, a mix of volcanic ash, named after the Italian city of Pozzuoli, where a significant deposit can be found, and lime. And so when mixed with water, the two materials can react to produce strong concrete. I'm going to do something I should never do, and that is tell you what the ingredients of this volcanic ash is. So it's a binder, and it's a mix of calcium, aluminium or aluminum, depending which part of the world you are.
True, right, that's true.
Silicate and hydrate. And so for short, they call it cash or CASH. This binder, cash, was also found in the sepulchre of the tomb of Cecilia Metella from the 1st century AD in Rome. That's what the volcanic ash, the pozzolana, is made of. And obviously it's mixed with limestone. Now, we have talked about how it's a process of hot mixing. So you mix it hot. Yep. So you get the chemical reaction, which makes it a strong concrete, etc.
Yeah, definitely.
So I'll just go on a little bit further. The smoking guns, which showed why the concrete was so strong, were the white chunks of lime that can be found in what seems to be otherwise well-mixed concrete. The presence of these chunks had previously been attributed to poor mixing materials, but it didn't make sense to Admir Masik of MIT, who we referred to in our first episode on Roman concrete. So what happened was they did like these microspectral analyses.
Wow.
So electron microscopy, energy dispersive X-ray spectroscopy, power to X-ray diffraction, and confocal Raman imaging, all right? I don't know what any of that is, but that's basically a whole bunch of X-rays that were really detailed.
Nice.
Yeah, in one of the articles, the really scientific one, you can actually see really detailed images of it. It's quite amazing. But when they did these scans and X-rays, they found chunks of lime, which doesn't make sense, right? Because it looks like it was poorly mixed together then, because there shouldn't be chunks of lime. Like, for example, if you get cement powder today, it's powder. It's not.
That's correct. That's
It's
correct.
completely crushed rock, sand, whatever it is that makes it strong.
Exactly.
But there aren't chunks of rocks or anything in it unless you specifically want it that way.
Specifically want somewhere in there. That's correct.
So initially, they thought it was poorly mixed, but actually it was deliberate. So here we go. I'm going to do my best with this next little bit here. So it's because they used a combination of, and I have talked about this previously, but now I'll tell you what it is: slaked lime and quick lime. Okay, so slaked, So I'll talk about the two, and again, I'll share an article from a blog which talks about the two. So someone actually has a blog on lime. That's great. So quick lime, first of all, and there's an image of it. It's known as calcium oxide. It's produced by heating limestone at high temperatures in the process called calcination. This process removes the carbon dioxide, leaving behind calcium oxide. Quick lime is highly reactive and exothermic, meaning it releases a significant amount of heat when it comes into contact with water. And what are the modern uses of quick lime? One of them is construction. It's used for construction for making cement and plaster. Its high reactivity makes it an excellent binding material. When you look at quick lime, it looks like chunks of rock, like chunks of lime, okay? So that's the first one. And this is what they found, right, is chunks of quick lime in the Roman concrete. And people thought, okay, that doesn't make any sense. Why didn't they grind it down like a powder?
Grind it down.
A really poor mixing.
Hey, who didn't mix this? Didn't mix it well.
Who mixed this? What's going on? Yeah, there's chunks of lime. I can't use this. But actually, it was deliberate. So but before I talk about what's deliberate, the difference is the difference between quick lime and slaked lime. Now, slaked lime is known as calcium hydroxide or hydrated lime. It's produced by adding water. Yep. So you add water to quick lime, which is those chunks of rock, and the process is called slaking, and it results in a less reactive, more stable compounds compared to quick lime. Slaked lime is typically sold in powder form or as a putty. Also used for construction, for making mortar, plaster, and whitewash. It provides a durable and flexible binding material, and it provides the longevity of buildings, as the Romans had already told us. So you can see that there are modern applications for the use of lime, not Roman concrete, lime in building. So here's where the kind of new information might be. So they believe that slaked lime was used, that's the powdery lime, but quick lime, the chunks of lime, was also used. But the quick lime, or the chunky chunks of lime, was put in during the hot mixing, not before. So as they were hot mixing, they would add it during the process of the hot mixing. So that gets you your chemical reaction. It gets you your really strong concrete. So what happens then is, and they did tests, we did talk about these tests last time too, so I actually went back and listened to make sure we had something new to say. What happens is, when the concrete cracks, as invariably it does for whatever reason, the ground moves, whatever happens, the concrete cracks over time. So what happens is the cracks are in a way directed towards the lime. They go through the lime, these chunks of lime. So as water, like the next time it rains, or if it's close to the sea or whatever it is, as water enters the cracks, the lime reacts with the water. There's like a chemical reaction, and it becomes almost like a glue. Yeah. So, and this is where the self-healing concrete that we talked about last time, right? We were excited about. It becomes almost like a glue. I'm oversimplifying a little bit, but its chemical structure changes and it fills in the gaps, and it becomes a new material that not only does it fill in the gap, but it actually makes the concrete stronger. It binds it even stronger together.
That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, so that's how you have your Roman concrete. I also wanted to mention, because Roman concrete is also attributed to Vitruvius, who was a Roman architect. Now, Vitruvius is also the name of the Renaissance drawing, The Vitruvian Man by Leonardo da Vinci. So it's inspired by Vitruvius. I'll get to that in a moment. And for all those who are fans of the Lego movie, Vitruvius is the wizard. That's really smart, because he's a master builder, right? So Vitruvius, see what I mean? Yeah, they're really smart architects. So, so let's talk about Vitruvius and I'm literally taking a paragraph or two from Wikipedia. He was a Roman architect, born around 80 to 70 BC and died around 15 BC, sorry. He was a Roman architect and engineer during the 1st century BC, known for his multi-volume work titled De Architectura. Okay, that's the name of his work. That's the only treatise on architecture to survive from antiquity from that time. It has been regarded since the Renaissance as the first book on architectural theory, as well as a major source on the canon of classical architecture. it is not clear to what extent his contemporaries regarded his book as original or important. He states, though, that all buildings should have 3 attributes: firmitas, utilitas, venustas, which is, and I'm not Italian, so sorry.
Sorry, Lindsay, sounds like you're about to do a spell, but I understand.
Firmitas, utilitas, venustas. Oh, no, anyway, sorry. But in English, strength, utility, and beauty. So that was those were his architectural principles. So the strength is our Roman concrete, right? And these are principles that are reflected in a lot of ancient Roman architecture. So his discussion of perfect proportion in architecture and the human body led to the famous Renaissance drawing of the Vitruvius Man by Leonardo da Vinci. So I wanted to add a few more bits of some links to ancient Rome in this episode. And the article that was shared with us, I'll put the link in the show notes, and it shows the process of the creation of there's like a diagram, the creation of the Roman concrete, and then what happens when it cracks and how the cracks are diverted towards the lime, and how the lime is then self-repairing, self-healing when water enters it, when it's hydrated. Yeah, so I just wanted to add one last thing, and we did talk about this last time. Actually, no, go to the cracks first of all. So what I was saying before, right? So when the cracks form in the concrete, they preferentially travel to the lime class, as I was talking about before, these chunks of lime, which have a higher surface area than the other particles in the matrix. When water gets into the cracks, it reacts with the lime to form a solution rich in calcium. This is like the glue that I was talking about. It's like a glue.
Nice.
That dries and hardens as calcium carbonate, gluing the crack back together and preventing it from spreading further. And I talked about before, this was observed in the 2,000-year-old site of the tomb of Cecilia Metella, which I talked about before. And that tomb has survived for millennia.
So millennia.
Yeah. It was also observed on seawalls built 2,000 years by the Romans that have survived the ocean's constant beating. So, as we mentioned last time as well, the team tested this out. This was around 2023. They made pozzolanic concrete from the ancient modern recipes using quicklime.
Whoa.
Yep. They also made a control concrete without any quicklime at all. And then they performed crack tests on both. And sure enough, the cracked quicklime concrete was fully healed within 2 weeks. The control concrete stayed cracked. So the team is working, and they've been working on this since before 2023, to commercialize an environmentally friendly alternative to current concrete.
Nice.
And I think we mentioned last time that the Roman concrete, the production of it produces 8% less carbon emissions than the current modern process of creating concrete.
Yeah. Cool.
So there you go. Roman concrete, part 2. We did it.
Oh my gosh, Lindsay, that's amazing. The architect said about it's like 3 pillars.
Yeah.
3 pillars of building a house.
Strength,
or building,
utility, beauty.
Yeah, building however you want.
Yeah.
And that's so good. I'm going to have a bit of a side note about that. This is a bad analogy. I must admit, little people will agree with this, but this is like our faith and our belief within ourselves. Yeah, I think this is a good way. It has about those 3 pillars of what we can do within our lives and within our work.
The strength of our faith,
life.
The usefulness, the utility of our faith, the beauty of our faith. That's a really nice reflection. Well done. Yeah.
What we all know about the Romans, that Rome wasn't built in a day. It wasn't, but it has lasted for many
but it lasted
years.
A millennia. Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
That's
true.
Good one.
That's true. Yes. I think I'd read somewhere else that Roman concrete was used in the restoration of Rome after the fires of Rome, after the time of Nero as well, from memory. So I think, Anyway.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I found that very satisfying doing Roman concrete part 2. I wonder, I hope there's something new so that maybe in 2 years from now we can do Roman concrete part 3.
I think so. We were just joking on our chat. Sequels never do well in movies, and I'm not saying books are different, totally different. But I think this one did very well, Lindsay. I think we did well. I think
do you know why?
Part 2 was well. Why?
Do you know why? Because it's Roman concrete. It can never be bad. It can never be bad. Never be bad.
If there's any cracks in it, it heals very quickly.
It heals itself. That's right. Yep. Roman concrete. It heals itself. There you go. Trademark if they want to use that. Yep.
Oh, yes, you can. No, we'll buy it. We'll buy that.
That's it. Yep.
Let's Science is brought to you by StarQuest Media and is a fortnightly podcast that brings you the scientific wonders of our universe from a distinctly Catholic point of view. For more from Caroline, Lindsay, and friends, listen to the StarQuest show, Catholics of Oz. Find links from today's show at sqpn.com/science. And find the Catholics of Oz at sqpn.com/Oz. Be sure to follow the show in Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you can find podcasts, or on the SQPN YouTube channel. The generous donations of our patrons at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue Let's Science and all the shows at StarQuest, which makes our nonprofit mission possible. You can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. Join us next time for more scientific wonders, and thank you for listening to Let's Science on StarQuest. Here's another show on the StarQuest network you're sure to enjoy: The Secrets of Technology. Find it wherever fine podcasts are found or at sqpn.com/technology.